I was definitely like a feminist. And so, I was going to do whatever I wanted to do, and there was no limit to what I could do.
I thought I was going to be like the girl out there getting it.
So I was just very headstrong. Like I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to sacrifice that for it.
Yeah. Would you make the same decision now?
I would say there's sacrifice, there's compromise if you really truly love someone.
What was some of the reasons why it didn't work out?
For me, it was that moment when I asked myself, like, who's the woman that you want your daughter to know?
Yeah.
And I knew the answer to that was not who I was. And so having to do the things necessary to be the woman I needed to be, I had to let that relationship go. Once you have a kid throws your balance off. So I think the key to relationships is realizing that you have to keep getting to know this person, because they're not going to be the same person in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. And so you have to be committed to the soul of this person. To me, that's what a soulmate is. It's not just one person out there. I think you can have many soulmates, but you have to choose. A soulmate is a choice to be connected to the soul of this person and get to know who they become over time and keep falling in love with them.
I love it.
And so my advice would be,
Fully connected. Hey, real quick, guys, before we get started with the episode, I just want to say thank you for clicking on this video. I realize the majority of people who watch this podcast haven't yet subscribed to the podcast. So take that time right now to hit that subscribe button and to smash that like button. I really appreciate the support. Now let's get back to the episode. Yeah. Welcome back to the Fully Connected Podcast, your go-to destination for inspirational conversations to help you become your greatest version. I am your host, Chris Jones, clinical therapist and owner of Fully Connected Counseling. Today we got a special guest. All right. She was voted most athletic in high school. Now she's a catalyst in the community, helping several different nonprofit agencies, some of the biggest nonprofit agencies in the city, helping them to manage, create innovative plans and strategies for growth and success. She also is the owner of a consulting business where she helps nonprofits grow in their earlier stages. She has worked in several different athletic departments from Indiana University, Florida Atlantic, Kansas University, and even like a seasonal position with the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe. Without further ado, we have Valerie White in the building. How's it going, Valerie?
I'm doing good. I see you did your homework.
Man, it's a mouthful.
It was a lot.
You got one hell of a resume.
Thank you.
Definitely. So what do you feel like is your mission? Like, because at first you started with, sports. You got an MBA, and then now you're in the nonprofit world working in communities. So it's kind of like you're doing a little bit here, a little bit there. What's Valerie's mission?
Yeah, it may seem that way. But I know growing up, I always wanted to be in sports. I have 3 older brothers. I'm the only girl, and I have a lot of male cousins around my age. And so just growing up, I knew I wanted to be in sports. Originally a sports agent. And so that carried with me all the way through high school and when I graduated. So I've always worked in sports. I was an athlete as a child and as a teenager. And then starting in high school with an internship opportunity, I had worked in sports all the way from then until I had my daughter about 6 years ago.
6 years ago, wow. And you moved to Wichita here, like what was it, 5 years ago?
5 years ago.
Right before COVID.
Yes.
Wasn't that crazy?
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I just never living in Wichita before and moving here 5 years ago, right before COVID. We were here for 6 months. I bought my house, and then everything shut down.
It's crazy.
And so, I didn't really get to know a lot of people that quickly, just because of the fact that, we were at home all the time. So I did get to know my neighbors a little better because we would spend time outside. But as far as making like strong connections with people my age and people that look like me, it hadn't happened. It took a while to get that going.
I only can imagine. Right. And so it's really interesting. I feel like, inspiring too, because I'm born and raised here. You just moved here 5 years ago, And I feel like you know everybody in the city. You know, like all the nonprofits. You're connected into all the nonprofits. What would you say about that? Because were you doing the same thing when you're in the other cities you lived in, or like what inspired you to stay so connected? Because this is the Fully Connected podcast, and you're, I feel like, very connected in the community. Like, how'd you go about all that?
Yeah, so when I lived in other cities, it was not like this.
Yeah.
And kind of to answer your first question too, like when I was in sports, I didn't really know my purpose. I knew I was passionate about sports, and I knew I was a hard worker, so I fit in the industry. When I moved to Wichita, and after being a parent, things change in your life.
Absolutely.
You're not only working on your professional resume, but now you have this other resume that you have to gain skills to be a good parent and a good leader in your household.
Right.
So just growing with God, trying to ask myself, what kind of mom do I want to be? What kind of woman do I want this little girl to look up to? That's when I really grew into my purpose of serving others. Absolutely. And God has led me into every endeavor I've done. So just having the opportunity to work at some amazing nonprofit organizations that give back to the community, I was eager to give millions to our community. And with that eagerness, I wanted to see who was behind these nonprofits. I wanted to learn about the clients they were serving. And so that kind of motivated me to really get to know the people in our city and be able to make a huge impact.
That's super dope, because it seems like you just have a passion for serving others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, was it always like this? Like, even like before you got into sports, or just as a kid? Like, why are you so passionate about serving the public?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely in my personality and who I am. Just wanting to please other people. And I think that also made me successful in sports, because that's all a coach really wants for you is
be
to get
coachable.
what you,
You gotta be coachable.
Like, will she do anything, basically?
Right.
And so I think not only did it make me successful in sports, but it also just makes me a good citizen in the community, makes me a good follower of Christ. Yeah.
When you were with Kansas University, you were working right with Bill Self, right?
Yeah. So when I first got to KU, I went as a student. I had a scholarship from the business school.
Undergraduate?
Yep. And I worked at Cali College in my first year and a half in undergrad. So I was a transfer to KU. And so I worked so hard at Cali. I was like, I'm going to have time to myself. Like, I can focus on school, all that. As soon as I got there, I was bored. Like, I missed the grind.
Really?
I missed having a family wherever I am, which, sports is really just a family. And so immediately I had the opportunity to look for a mentor, and I wanted him to be in sports. I wanted that person to be in sports. And so this committee got me a mentor in sports. And so that's how I ended up getting back connected with athletics is through a mentorship.
Definitely. So was Bill Self your mentor?
No, he wasn't.
Okay, I was about to say, that's fire.
Then there was Paul Buskirk. He was over Student Athlete Support Services. But one of his first assignments for me was to have an informational interview with every athletic director at KU. And so I went around, scheduled these 30-minute informational interviews, just asking them about their past, why they enjoy working in sports. And so I got to know everyone who was making decisions at KU, ended up getting an internship, full-time internship. Yeah. Which is crazy because I was also a full-time student.
Right. That's super crazy, right?
With the women's basketball team first.
Wow. So you kind of were doing a whole lot.
Yes.
Did you ever think about going into politics?
More recently, yes.
Yeah.
But mainly because I'm not your usual politician. And
okay.
I understand.
What's that mean?
I believe that
the usual what it would be, the usual politician. I know what you mean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, you think of careers as linear most times. That you went into undergrad in political science, that you were president of student body. All these things that lead to a politician. But then when you grow up, when you're an adult and you're living life, and you're living a life where people are making decisions for you in your community, you realize that if you pay attention, a lot of times these people don't look like you. They don't have the experiences you've had.
Right.
And so we need more diversity. We need more voices. And so as someone who has a lot of intersectionality and different experiences in life, I think if someone like me, and really like almost anyone in a room, someone like you,
Hey, I'm not running for nothing.
Regular
That's you.
people should run for office, and
Right.
I'm really be able to speak for.
Watch out,
communities
Lily.
they serve.
Watch out, Lily. Valerie's coming. Valerie's
Definitely not
coming.
mayor.
Man, I always felt that. I always felt like, you know, that was your main end goal, was to run for mayor.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of like you're gonna do all this groundwork, and then eventually you're gonna try to run.
Never crossed my mind.
Yeah. Have you? I mean, because I think you'll be good at it. You know, the way you present, your posture, everything, the way you speak, the resume, you could easily be able to do it. You know what I mean? So I wanted to kind of figure out, you know, how going back to season 1, you know, Valerie, her mom, Loretta, you know, your dad,
Wow.
military, you know, I'm guessing obviously they definitely instilled all these, you know, principles to help you to become the woman that's right here. What was that like growing up?
Yeah. So I did mention I'm the youngest of 4.
The three older brothers.
3 older brothers.
Yeah.
And my parents are very Christian.
Yeah,
Grew
for
up in a
sure.
very conservative household. You know, my dad had military background. My uncles had military background. My grandfather had military background.
Right,
So I grew up in a lot of structure. My mom was very quiet. I can actually remember the first time she ever wore pants.
Yeah.
And so she stayed home with us before we were elementary school aged. She stayed home with us, took care of us. And so, you know, my mom's very nurturing and very loving. And, you know, I got to witness her love her children, her husband, and really do anything for us. And so that's, you know, that's been really more particular as I get to know other people, other people's experiences. You know, not everyone is kind-hearted in the world. And so just having the opportunity to grow up in a household with a mom who was just so kind has been,
that's
I
beautiful.
thank God for that.
That's beautiful. Very kind. And
I've never even seen her yell.
Yes. I remember seeing something about that. You know, you said the only time you saw her yell was when she was yelling or praising God, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, like, what was that like? Like, I'm guessing your mom had a softness, you know, like sometimes the stereotypical black mom, right, if you will, she wasn't like that.
No, and I mean, that was normal to me because that's the household I grew up in. But I think the most shocking part about my mom is that she retired as a correctional officer. That's surprising to a lot of people.
That is surprising.
Yes.
Wow. So that's where she got all that out at work.
You know, she's the same woman at home, at work, at church, no matter where you see her.
Was it a correctional officer for adults? Or
Yes.
for kids?
For men.
Wow. Definitely. Wow. So I bet your brothers she was going to go in on them if they ever do anything wrong. She was like, hey, this is where it's at. Yeah. So, you know, so both your parents are married and they're, you know, I'm guessing they're still together as we speak. What's your thoughts now, just like about, you know, the state of relationships? And I know you guys kind of dived into it on the workshop podcast, but, you know, at the end of the day, I'm assuming it must be kind of difficult to find somebody who is on your level, you know, academically, all these things, and at the same time, the values you were raised in. What are some of their, you know, challenges you find out here on the dating scene?
Yeah, like I don't believe someone has to be on my level.
Yeah, maybe not on your level. Maybe that's not the right word. Yeah.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, and it definitely sounds like the right. You know, it sounds like that should be the right goal. But I think I cut a lot of people out of the picture, especially for my preferences.
For sure.
And so, but the other part of that is a lot of men believe they need to be on my level or that they're not on my level.
They feel intimidated probably. You going on dates with them, they're probably like, oh, dang.
But how I feel about relationships is like I had motivation, you know, to be where I am today.
For sure.
You know, I have a kid, so that really lights a fire under you.
Exactly. And I remember because you said like pretty much having a kid, now you have like the personal success, right? Instead of the professional, just only the professional success. Now you can be able to say, hey, I have my daughter, she's 6, her name's Faith, right? And so like, what was that like? Because I feel like nowadays maybe like just not just women, but men in general too, is like, we're just so focused on career, rather than trying to build up the personal success. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I definitely was me. I was definitely like a feminist.
Feminist? What's your definition of feminist?
I was a person that, you know, I was going to do whatever I wanted to do, and there was no limit to what I could do. And so, you know, I definitely let go of relationships, romantic relationships for that reason.
Yeah.
My first relationship, I wanted to go to Florida and be a GA for the men's basketball team.
Okay.
He wanted to move back home, but he wanted me to come with him.
Okay.
And so I was just very headstrong. Like I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to sacrifice that for a guy.
What would that be like now? Would you make the same decision now?
I would say. So also my personality is very, very black and white.
Okay.
So I would say there's sacrifice, there's compromise. If you really truly love someone.
That's that Taurus right there, that bull-headed. You said black and white. Very black and white. So when did you realize it was black and white? Like, why do you feel like it's black and white? I never really would have assumed that.
I think, so I took a leadership academy through W Chamber, and I took a leadership assessment in a stage of my life where, I had done some leadership things, and it really challenged me to look at my personality type and how it plays not only in the workplace, but at home, in relationships, and also how to be more aware of, being in a personality type that's pretty rare.
Do you remember your personality type? Was it Myers-Briggs or which test?
I was ENFJ.
Man, it's been a while since I remember what these letters mean. Do you remember what the ENFJ means? Or like what's the characteristics of a ENFJ?
So I'm an extrovert.
Okay.
The J is judging, but basically you're just very organized.
Okay.
You don't really just go with the flow.
For sure.
Like you want to have a plan. I plan my weeks out. I plan my days out. My daughter's on the schedule. So we're just very structured, and it's hard just to be flexible sometimes. And becoming more aware of that, allows me to use it more as a strength than a weakness. Because if you're the only person your way, it comes off as a weakness very easily.
Right. I bet it can. Speaking about like flexibility, another word comes to balance. Like, how do you find balance with all the things you're doing? Like from being because you're like a board member on like 2 different boards, or is it just one?
I'm on a few different boards.
What's your objective of being on the boards? Are these things that you go out to pursue, or are people coming up to you and say, "Hey, can you be a member?"
Yeah, so these opportunities come to me. I have to turn some down because I don't have a whole lot of time. But my objective is really just helping others. And so my board services are obviously on nonprofits, Wichita Habitat for Humanity, the Neighboring Movement, things that impact places and people. But I'm also on the Downtown Rotary board. What
do they do there?
So they're also a service organization, and so their members are a lot of influential leaders across the community.
Definitely. So see, this is why I say you're gonna run for mayor. You're connected well in just 5 years in Wichita. Like, do you sometimes feel like you surprise yourself? Like, yeah. Because it's very impressive. Like, once again, like only 5 years in the city. You're the one that introduced me to the gathering. And then I was man, this is where all the black people are at. I remember because Corinthian always shares that story with the guy. It's like his last week in the city or whatever. He was like, wow, like I finally found where all the black people are in Wichita are at. But I had no idea about the gathering until Valerie. So shouts out to you. Right? Yeah. And the Elsewhere tickets too.
And Elsewhere, yes. That was a lot of fun. What
were your thoughts about when you got to meet D Smoke?
I didn't have a whole lot of thoughts.
You didn't get to talk to him too much?
People don't impress me very easily.
Yeah.
And no offense to D Smoke or anything like that.
He's not going to be watching.
I just grew up and been around a lot of, important people, quote unquote. And they're just people. Definitely.
He was actually pretty cool, but they're just people. Who are some of like the biggest, like important people you've been around,
I actually met Kobe. Well, I've met Kobe.
Are you from? You're dead serious?
Yes.
You got to meet Kobe?
I have,
what?
Yeah. They played the Pacers when I was in Bloomington, and me and another friend, he was already in Indianapolis, but we both went to KU. We both knew Tarek, and so we drove up and stayed when they played the Pacers.
It's impressive. So I got to meet Kobe. Like, it is what it is. They're just people.
Yeah. It was really cool. That was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just got to shake his hand or just say hello to him, or what was that like?
Yeah, it was an introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very basic. stood out. I just started wearing makeup like on a daily basis, probably less than a year ago.
Oh, for real? What inspired you to do that?
I think I don't know. Like I just started doing things for me. And so a lot of times I didn't want to like look the prettiest I could be to not intimidate other people, because I can tell the difference of when like my hair's done, makeup's done, and how it comes off to other people, especially other women. And so I was trying to be less intimidating by not wearing makeup.
So so you're saying that other women, you didn't want to intimidate other women by wearing makeup?
That's an example, but I can... Like, when you wear sweats, you can tell how people relate to you different than if you're wearing a suit,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
And so I think I just kind of wanted to blend in. I wanted to be bland and not be the center of attention. And so that was kind of why.
I don't blame you. Yeah, definitely. So what does it feel like now? Like, spend that extra time getting dressed up. Like, do you feel like you get more, like, respect or whatever it is that you are obtaining? How does that feel?
I think... now I just don't care what people think, and that feels good. So like if a guy's trying to talk to me, like I'm polite to them, I'm nice to them, but I don't know, I'm so confident in who I am today that I just I can just hold my head up a little differently. Definitely. So if a guy was trying to talk to you, like what would be the proper way to approach somebody like yourself? I mean, just be yourself. I don't know,
because there's some people that do that and it doesn't go anywhere.
I mean, everybody's not for everybody. So I would say just be yourself. State your intentions if you are interested. But otherwise, get to know people. Like start a friendship first and then look for a romantic connection.
Man, friendship is like the foundation of not only like any relationship, but maybe not business, but maybe not business, but it can be like you have to be able to have that, the foundation for that, And, I was curious though as well, like when it comes to like friends or whatnot, do you feel like, being at the level of success that you're at now, do you feel like you've had to cut off a lot of friendships or even, do you feel like there was friendships that weren't serving you at one point?
Yeah. Yes and no. I've made a lot of friends in a lot of different places just because I moved around a lot.
For sure.
But I'd say a lot of friendships kind of fall off on their own. Yeah. Especially as someone who can't keep in contact on a regular basis. Like I can't talk daily to you because I just don't have the capacity.
What happens? Is it just a social battery issue or?
I'm busy. Like there's not very many evenings where I don't have something to do. But definitely like if I have my daughter in the evening, I don't try to plan something. I also take my fitness very seriously. So if I'm in a season where I'm working out on a daily basis, I put that first.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes I don't have time to do anything until 9:00 at night, and then that's like an hour before my bedtime.
Definitely. So fitness is important. Like, and I didn't know. I mean, obviously, you look apart. Like you've obviously are in shape and whatnot. Let's talk a little bit about that. Because maybe that's something else that helps you to be able to, reach these levels professionally too. Being able to be in, good shape, good health. What's your thoughts about fitness, health, exercising? Yeah.
So I actually lost about 25 pounds here in the last year.
Wow.
And it was pounds that I put on, like I only had them for a short period of time. So some people didn't notice I was trying to hide from the camera. But
you're on the camera now.
So I gained the weight really quickly just due to some health related things.
For sure. You're good now. Yeah.
Nothing serious.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you about motherhood and like being a mom. What's that like, and why did you decide to name your daughter Faith?
Yeah, so being a mom definitely is the best title I've ever had.
That's fire.
I named her Faith because, like I said, I had a career in athletics. It just so happened that they had let go of our head coach. We had just went to a bowl game. They let go of our head coach, I think right before the bowl game. And so there's a lot of transition going on in my life. And so adding... growing a child in my body, I just had a lot going on. And I knew with the amount of time that we put into athletics, how much traveling, all this effort, I was just weighing all the pros and cons, and the math was not mathing for me to be a mom. And so I moved back home without, really understanding what the future held for me outside of being a mom now. And so Faith was just the name that came to me because it's really all I had at that time.
Wow. That's all you had. I love it.
Yeah.
So you named your daughter Faith because for a reminder.
Yeah.
For a reminder of faith. What would you say, you know, when it comes to being a mom? And I know at one point, obviously, you and the father were together. What do you feel like, you know, was your reason to why that didn't work, you know, without sharing too much? But what was some of the reasons why it didn't work out?
Yeah. So he and I were engaged. We were together 4 years,
Right.
engaged prior to us separating.
Yeah.
For me, it was that moment when I asked myself, like, who's the woman that you want your daughter to know?
Yeah.
And I knew the answer to that was not who I was when she was a baby, when I had her.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's just because we just had a lot of issues in our relationship.
Yeah.
And so with so many issues, there was a lot of arguments. No trust was there.
Yeah.
No loyalty was there. And so having to do the things necessary to be the woman I needed to be, I had to let that relationship go.
Definitely. There's so many like women who are in relationships now who don't know how to do that. What would be some advice you could give those young ladies?
Yeah, I mean, it is hard because, you know, you've given someone so many years and you actually still love that person. And then obviously you want to be a family. You know, like you want to give your kid a mom and a dad. You want to be husband and wife. You know, those are things I feel like in our culture that are intrinsic in us.
Absolutely.
And so my advice would be, don't let that lead your decisions, because your health and your mental health, your physical health is way more important than trying to show the world that you can make a complete family.
Do you feel like that's what a lot of people do? Because I have a lot of clients who are like, well, I can't divorce my husband or leave my wife because I don't want to do it. You know, I don't want to make the kids upset. Like, do you feel like it's more of just like people are just scared to set boundaries, or is it just more of an attachment, or, you know, because you were in that situation?
Yeah.
And, you know, I was as well, briefly, you know, but for you, like, you know, since we're interviewing you, but you can ask me questions too. But I'm just curious, you know, like what made you to realize, man, I got to get out of here? You know?
Yeah. So I've always been a very curious person. You know, my parents have been together my entire life.
Yeah.
I'm married over 40 years. But even before I had a kid, before I was in a serious relationship, if I met someone who's been divorced, I always ask them questions. I'm like, is it okay if I ask you questions about why? And so because I was always curious about relationships and because I always wanted to do it the right way, I kind of had this background knowledge of people's experiences and what led to their divorces. And so when I was making my decision, I pretty much knew either we could separate now and she'll learn to, we can teach her how to be, you know, just the best we can. We can teach her the best we can about life.
Right.
Or I can let this go on for however long it will go on.
Absolutely,
and it will either be, I'd be miserable or it'd eventually lead to a divorce anyway. So I definitely I'm an overthinker too. So I definitely overthought it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because with because the mother of my child, I'd said the same thing, but I'd catch that on like real early. I was like, hey, like, this is clearly not going to work. And it's going to there's going to be a crossroad and we might as well just go ahead and do this now. So then, you know, he doesn't have to be able to remember us arguing with each other, you know? So it's just like, it can be a tough decision, but sometimes it's the right decision that needs to be made, you know, because like you said, you could be in a situation where you're miserable and now you got maybe more than one kid and then, you know, it doesn't work out.
I also want to take the opportunity to say kudos to those who have been married, had kids, stayed married, and holding on strong, because, I mean, I'm sure you and I both know that you grow at different speeds. Once you have a kid throws your balance off. So you have your relationship and you throw a kid in there. And so now you have not only just women have some depression that they deal with, you know, they also, I think women just, from my experience, I grew a lot faster out of the person I was.
Right.
And so we were no longer compatible. But if we were married first, I'd have to think about like, wow,
what do you think would have been, you're saying if you guys were married first, you know, when you had the baby?
Yeah. Like I would, like, it's hard to like kind of go back and think like, I definitely value marriage.
For
And
sure,
if there
for
was not things that broke the marriage, you know, and we had a healthier relationship, but then we had kids and I grew differently, like,
Absolutely.
how do you keep that vow to this person as you're going through this tumultuous time?
Yeah, that's what I asked my parents, because my parents been married going on 39 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I always tell my dad, I feel like it's like a hard like threshold to beat. I kind of tell him, like, because I feel like I'm in this competition with my dad in a sense. And yeah, it's just kind of like, it's, you know, I don't know. I wanted to ask you too, what do you feel like is the hardest thing for you about relationships? You know?
I haven't been in enough relationships to answer that. I don't think relationships are hard.
Right.
I think sometimes the ideas we have about relationships, kind of how Disney presents relationships, I think are just not reality. Yeah. So I think the key to relationships is realizing that you have to keep getting to know this person, because they're not going to be the same person in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years.
Yes.
And so you have to be committed to the soul of this person. To me, that's what a soulmate is. It's not just one person out there. I think you can have many soulmates, but you have to choose. A soulmate is a choice to be connected to the soul of this person and get to know who they become over time. And keep falling in love with them.
I love it. Awesome. Well, hopefully one of these days you can be able to find somebody you can have the patience with to be able to do all
Absolutely.
that. Now, when it comes to, like, you know, parenting and whatnot, what would you say is the most difficult part about being a mom? You know, in particular, I don't know if it's safe to say, but a single mom, right? Like, what are some of the difficult things about being a single Black mom?
I would say the difficult thing, besides like knowing that, you know, you have a single income instead of 2 incomes.
For sure.
You know, I worked on that. I doubled my income thinking that's, you know, that fixes the problem. It does to a certain extent. She has more opportunities now because of that. But I think just parents in general, I don't think it's just single mom. I don't think it's just mothers, but I think parents in general, there's no guide to this.
There's not.
And so the tough part is going through it, like getting through one station of life, and then having to prepare for the next one, because it's always something new. It's gonna be something different. But I think the beautiful part about that is like thinking back and like, wow, I thought I couldn't do this. Like when I moved to Wichita with a toddler, it was 1.5. Like, I'm like, how am I gonna do this? Like, I had my mom the whole time, the first 1.5 years of her life. And so just looking back, like looking at the things that I thought I couldn't do, and then you overcome it, and then you gain the strength to keep moving, and like, well, if I overcame that, then I can overcome this, and it just keeps building.
What helps you to overcome those hurdles?
Just got to do it.
And then faith, like you said, you named her Faith because it's a reminder, like, you just got to do it. So, you know, it seems like, you know, to me, like, overall, mostly what you're saying is just like you have this ambition to get past whatever, almost, you know, whether it be breakup, whether it be, you know, changes in, you know, cities from Cali to Arc City to Arizona. You were born there, and then coming back and forth. Like, it just seems like kind of like in your season 1, there was a lot of change, and you were able just to adapt to the feedback like it's nothing. And even though at times it probably was difficult, but I see that as a strength, you know?
Yeah.
Very flexible.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of growth happens in the difficult, the uncomfortable, and the challenging times.
Absolutely. Speaking of challenging times, like, if you could tell us a little bit about how your cousin Jordan, how he was such an influence on you.
Yeah. So when I moved to Arc City, Jordan was my very first friend.
Yeah.
I moved in the summer, and they were having vacation Bible school in the little town of Arc City. And then we all, like, his grandma lived on the same street as my grandma, like 2 doors down. And so they were like, his grandma was like, I want you to meet my grandson, Jordan. And so I met him literally when I first met them. And he was just the kindest, sweetest soul ever.
So he's a family friend? Or was he actual blood cousin?
So the story is, he's actually a family friend.
Right.
Our families are really close. But, I mean, he's a good-looking guy. And as soon as school started that year, A lot of girls were looking at me crazy because he was my best friend. And so we were like, well, we're cousins. And so then I had a lot of more female friends too. A lot of
okay, so you didn't want to, there again, early in your life, you didn't want to intimidate the other girls. So that's where it started, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we were just friends. So it was just, yeah, it was just, we became cousins.
And so did he inspire you as far as like, you know, like academics, you know, being in sports, basketball?
Definitely never in academics, but I mean, when I tell you he was a kind soul, like on my birthday, I brought root beer floats to the class. And so he come out to my mom's car and got all the bags. And my mom's like, are you good? He's like, I got it, you know, and that's just who he was. We had a kid in our class that, you know, not everyone liked, you know, didn't smell good all the time, you know, didn't have a lot of money. And so he was his friend too. And Jordan's a star athlete, best basketball player we had. And so if you're a star athlete, you're a popular person, is being friends to the person that, you know, kids want to tease, that makes a huge impact on our peers. And that was the type of person he was.
Definitely. And there was something that happened that he's no longer with us now, right? And if you don't mind sharing, like what happened? Because obviously this was somebody who was a staple in your life, just like your mom, your dad, and other people. And I think it's like important to know about people's like characters in their life to help them, so you can understand how people are the way they are now, you know. And you know, obviously he's not here. And like, how did you overcome and have the faith to be able to deal with that pain of losing a best friend, safe to say, right?
Yeah. So he took his own life, and I think for me, it was more difficult because we were so close. Like even through our first year of college. Because I moved away, you know, a lot of connections that are not as strong because, you know, you move away and you are working on your own goals. So I think that was hard for me. And then when I did move back to Kansas and have my daughter, I did see him, but because I was in this relationship that I didn't need to be in, and because he knew me so well, you know, I kind of, like, we saw each other, we were nice, we chat a little bit, but like, when someone knows your heart like that, you know, I was really hiding from really spending a lot of time with him. And so I think that's kind of the hardest thing is, like, I was worried about me and hiding.
What do you mean by hiding? Why were you hiding?
I mean, I don't know, maybe it is just me. Like, I don't like to talk about, like, the hurt and the hard things in life. And so having to pretty much tell people like what type of relationship I was in, because on the outside it looked great. Like people thought we were the best couple ever. And so just having to be that vulnerable or transparent, I didn't want to do that. And so
definitely. So being able to put on this, like, you know, image to the world, to the public, to kind of, you know, so people are not really able to see the vulnerable side. And like you said, like, it's hard for you to talk about those difficult things. Like, what made it easier? You know, what made it easier for you now to talk about those things, or maybe it's still difficult?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of letting people believe something that they already thought, more so than like trying to put on a persona per se.
For sure.
But yeah, I don't know what it is, because I've been through some other really difficult things that I know could help other women, and I just don't talk about it. Like, you know, I guess you never know when's the appropriate time to talk about it.
Right now is the appropriate time.
You don't want people to feel sorry for you.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Because, and I think, you know, that's one thing that, you know, I definitely admire about you as well, is because, you know, very humble. Because you could easily just be like on your higher horse, just like, I'm this, be very in your ego. But it seems like you're very humble, you know, and so maybe that's why, you know, you do certain things the way that you do it. You know, and, you know, even to be able to talk about how you became to be, you know, humble like that. I don't know if that's just probably like people you've seen around your life or whatnot, but I know that you do have advice to give. But then again, it's just like, maybe there is still like a guard up, you know, because that judgment, or like, what if people say this? Or do you feel like you still care about what other people think?
Not really.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But I don't know. Like, I just don't like things to be about me, I think is
yeah, for sure. Because what happens if it's about you?
I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I just rather, like I care more about other people than
For sure.
what I'm going
Definitely.
through. But I've definitely been through my share of really hard times.
Absolutely,
Depression, anxiety, all of that.
Absolutely. And so like kind of, you know, what's interesting too, because I've even realized, like, you know, with some of my clients too, like, you know, I had one client, he would say an acronym, it was JOY, JOY, obviously. And he said, Jesus first, others second, yourself last. And I was like, man, that's dope. But then what has happened is that he's always putting himself last in every situation, which may not always be good. So it's like, when do you know when to put yourself first sometimes? You know, or should you ever put yourself first? Or maybe you believe something else.
Yeah, wow, that's deep. And so I do think of the time like where I did have a therapist, you know, and I was going through a tough time. Really,
Was that before COVID?
yes, it was before COVID. Is when I lived in Indiana. I mean, really, sometimes I know I've been at a point where if you don't focus on you right now, there won't be a you tomorrow. And so I think, unfortunately, it's always in those darkest moments that, you know, I try to focus on me to get myself back to where I need to be.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? There won't be a you tomorrow.
Because I mean, so I was in a time of my life where like it was depression, you know, where trash is piling up in your house, and you're eating and you're leaving that stuff there, where you don't want to go outside. You think people are watching you. You think someone's following you. So I've been in those moments, and where I'm searching for how to forgive other people. And so really searching, that's really what got me out of it, is like, how do I not be paranoid? How do I not be angry? Like, because you have to focus on the causes, you know, to really get the outcomes you need. And so I focused on forgiveness. And so really tried to forgive this person. And then that was able to open up more and focused on eating more healthy.
Absolutely.
Taking care of my body. That also helps a little bit more. Had a therapist. Absolutely. That helps a lot.
Definitely. And so, like, you know, it sounds like, you know, and I don't want to, you know, you can share whatever you feel comfortable with, but, you know, it sounds like it was definitely very toxic, even when you say that, to the fact that you feel like someone was watching you. So I don't know if there's ever a time when you really didn't feel actually safe or like were worried about your life. Yeah.
So, I mean, the situation is I never talked publicly about it, and only really close people know about it. But I mean, I was dating a guy who was very nice, came off very nice, but ended up in some situations where he forced himself on me. And so that was the situation. So and that's another thing, you know, you don't have a playbook on, you know, how to get out of certain traumas. And so,
You know why I asked that question? Just because there's, once again, this is something unfortunately common for a lot of women, you know, like even my partner, she had a, you know, similar experience as well, man. So it's just like more than usual, like you'll be amazed about how many people have been through these traumatic situations. And, you know, we live in a numb society where we're not allowed to express these things, or people are going to judge you. Because even when I was, you know, I was thinking, you know, remember that Michael Jordan meme? The crying Michael Jordan, you know, and everybody remembers the Michael Jordan crying meme. But I was like researching. I was like, where was he at when that happened? And it was 2009. He got into the Hall of Fame. He went to the Hall of Fame in 2009 and 2019. But that was in 2009, and he was walking on stage, and he barely could even like speak because everybody's clapping and cheering him, and he's just like, they're tears of joy, you know. And he starts crying, and then what do people do? They clip it up, chop it up, make a meme out of it. And then for the next decade, he's the crying emoji, you know? And then, so then when Kobe dies, like literally like a decade later, the first thing Michael Jordan says when he goes on stage, he says, "This is hard. I don't want to cry because I don't want to be a meme."
Wow.
And people laugh, but like, he's like dead serious because he was a meme for 10 years. But he probably really wanted to cry even more than the Hall of Fame, because those were like tears of joy. But now these are like tears of like, this is my mentee, you know, that's dead in a tragic death. Like, his daughter was with him. Like, it's just super sad, but it's just like another representation of like how men can't cry, or just black men, or just people in general can't cry. So it's just like, I don't know what your thoughts are about that. Like, even just like being a woman, like, you know, sometimes women feel like they can't cry either, you know, but like we really, like as men, we really feel like we can't cry. But do you feel like nowadays like women feel like that too?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think crying seems like a sign of weakness.
Right.
But you know, even for me, like one thing I don't want to do is cry in front of my daughter for sure.
Yeah. Why is that?
Just because she's so caring.
Okay. She got that from you. Obviously, the caring part.
I hope so. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
She likes to serve others, you know.
She really is
She likes to serve others, but yeah, it's just like, you know, like I was saying, like the society we live in is so numb. People don't feel like they can cry or even open up or whatnot. But you know, hopefully you have a good like support system, some good friends that you can talk to. Hopefully, right, about whatever you need to do or whatever you need to talk to. But would you say that most of your friends are dealing with the similar struggles that you deal with when it comes to like being an educated black woman, dating, or maybe some of them are already married, kids, or
that's a good question. A lot of my people around me are married.
Yeah.
So I feel like their struggles are different. So I'm in a Bible study group with a group of women, a small group of women.
Which church?
We're just friends.
Oh, dope.
So
dope.
it's just we all 4 go to different churches.
Isn't that something? You guys live in the city, or
yes?
Okay,
here in
cool.
Wichita, we meet up at coffee shops, and we're currently going through a devotional book together.
Fire.
So I'm learning that everyone has their struggle, but it's different. Some are dealing with childhood traumas. Some are dealing with relationship traumas. You know, I'm dealing with dating, and I'm the only one who's not married in this group as well.
Yeah, what are they saying? What are they? Are they trying to find you like people like, hey, so-and-so has a friend?
No, they're actually not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, we got to get on them.
Well, one kind of, but.
Okay, they're trying to help you out, right?
So we only meet for 1 hour a week. And, you know, because we each have so much going on in our lives, because 2 of the women have multiple kids in their marriage. So it's 4 of us, 2 of them have multiple kids.
Gotcha.
In their own marriages.
Okay.
And so for an hour a week, you know, it kind of forces you to stay on task. We give each other time to talk about what we've been through that week, things that we're struggling with, how the passage has helped us.
That's cool.
But we've been able to stay within the hour time frame.
So do your parents have any secrets to why and how they're still married? Do you ever like just pick their brain and be like, man, like, how did you guys do it? What's the tips? Like,
yeah, I mean, I definitely should probably be doing more of that, but I know for them it's definitely their Christian faith.
Absolutely.
That they share together. And then also I can see that they just kind of let them be themselves. There are some things that are innate in us that be with us, part of our personality forever. And, you know, when they're in those moments of those personality traits that could rub other people the wrong way, I think I noticed they let things go real easily.
Yeah, that's what really about.
They don't hound on it. It's not something that they're gonna keep arguing about or
definitely
butting heads about.
Definitely don't want to do that, you know. And like with your personality, it definitely seems like you're able to let things go, and that can probably be really easy with all the work that you're doing with Catholic Charities and everything like that. Like, what exactly is a program specialist? Like, you know, because a lot of these jobs have these titles, but like, what does that look like in a day-to-day job there at Catholic Charities? Like project manager specialist, I believe.
Yeah, right? So basically the day-to-day is I'm juggling multiple projects. And so they can be different campaigns that we run for fundraising, can be events, so our annual event. Also, we have a Queen Bee campaign. So basically, it's just different events or things that are labeled projects. Yeah. And they're all in different areas of that project implementation. And so I help manage. And because we're kind of low resourced on staff, I'm the only person in development right now. We're hiring someone else, but I'm also doing all the details within. So I'm also the project team.
The project team, the project manager, a little bit of everything. It's crazy because I actually applied to be, when I was back in college, I was trying to get my internship there.
Really?
But it didn't work out.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, dang. dang, I had to like the interview. They were doing a couple like candidates, but I really thought I was gonna be able to land it. But it's crazy how life works out, because then I end up getting my internship in the therapy field. So
Wow.
it worked out, and that's kind of when I knew, like, man, this is.
Yeah.
So once again, I really do appreciate you coming on the show, on the podcast. You know, once again, you know, you're somebody who's able to connect. You're a convener. You're like a liaison. You bridge the gaps for the community. You know, so Valerie White, everybody, you know, make sure you guys go follow her. Where can they find you? How can they connect with you? If somebody's watching it, yeah. How can somebody connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is just through Instagram or Facebook.
Definitely.
Valerie Ann.
Right, so thanks again for everybody tuning in. If you made it this far in the episode, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, share, follow Valerie's page so you can be able to check out all the cool stuff she's doing in the community. And once again, this is the Fully Connected Podcast. Everything is connected. Make sure you stay connected. See you next time.